Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we're talking about tuning bait casting reels. If you're tired of fighting with backlashes, or maybe you're not getting much distance on your casts, there's a good chance that your reel is not tuned properly. So there's three different ways to tune a bait casting reel. Today I'm going to teach you all three. I'm also, after that, going to show you a way of feathering your thumb to get coils of line out of your spool mid-cast so that by the time the lure lands, you don't have a backlash. After that, I'm going to give you just a real quick rundown of some of the things to take into consideration when using these methods. I've got a dedicated video for all the factors that contribute to backlash, but this video is primarily about how to tune a bait casting reel properly. Let's get into it. All right, method number one for tuning a bait casting reel is called the falling lure method. This is one of two ways that reel manufacturers suggest you learn how to tune a reel. And in order to do so, we simply put our thumb on the thumb bar and press it, which frees up the spool. And you can see that lure fell into the water. What we want to do is tune the reel using just the tension knob, not the brake. The brake is set all the way on 10. It's maxed out. We're going to use the tension knob to properly get that lure to fall down towards the water. Okay, it fell, but it's still going fast. Now I've got my rod pointed at 45 degrees up towards the sky. I'm going to use again the tension knob. Oh, still too fast. We want to get it to where it falls. Okay, that was perfect according to what most people will tell you to do. What I prefer to do and how I teach people is to tighten it by pushing it forward a little bit more. That way the lure won't fall unless I move my rod. That's perfect for learning. So, as with any cast, I want about 10 inches of line from the tip of my rod to my lure. And the idea here is to simply just put my thumb on the thumb bar to free the spool. I'm going to bring the rod and reel back, and as I bring it forward, I need to time the letting go of my thumb on the spool, which will make the bait fly out in front of me. I'm casting, let's say, at that building out there. So I need to release my thumb somewhere over here in order to get the right line, the right casting line. Because if I wait to let go right here, the lure's going to go over here somewhere in these bushes. All right, so let's check this out. Now, the second part of the lure or the thumb timing is you have to stop the spool from spinning, and you do that by simply putting your thumb down on the spool before the lure hits the water. Now, if you do it too soon, you're going to shorten the cast. If you wait too late, you might get a couple coils, especially if your tension knob is too loose. Let's check it out. No backlash, not a very far cast. I am casting into easily a 10-mile-an-hour wind, but that's a good beginner setting to learn with. I don't know if you can see that bait out there. So that's how you tune using the falling lure method. All right, y'all, this is the second way to tune a bait casting reel. It's called the hybrid method. Probably the most, popular method. It's very easy, and you get a little bit better performance than the falling lure method, which in the falling lure method, we did adjust the weight of the lure to the reel, so we're good there. And now in the hybrid method, all you're doing is introducing the brake. That's all we're doing. So right, we had maxed out on the falling lure method, and now we're just going to go to, say, 8. You can incrementally do this. 8's probably a little bit aggressive to start out with. I'm just going to make a normal medium effort cast. Okay, that was a better cast distance wise than the falling lure method, and also the reel feels a lot smoother because I've released tension on the spool. The bad part of that is, or the trade-off rather, is more likelihood of getting a backlash because the spool is going to be spinning faster. But it's a pretty simple method. All you're doing is adding the falling lure method and then starting to introduce the brake. You are trying to find that sweet spot where you get maximum casting distance without any coils coming off of the spool. Being that we're using the tension knob, we're still limiting this spool a lot, and coils are a lot less likely to happen. So that is the hybrid method of tuning one of these. Pretty easy. All right, so the third way to tune a bait casting reel is called the brake centric or base brake tuning. Now this is more of an advanced way of tuning, and it's a little bit different, and it's got pros and cons as the other methods do. But what we're going to do differently on this one is we're not going to use the weight of the lure at all to tune to the reel. What we're going to do is we're going to pull the tension knob back to the point that the spool is going left to right. You can hear and feel it. And now I'm going to push it back forward to the point and no further than the point of it being centered. So no left to right and no noise. You got to get this part right. All right, so we're using the tension knob in the brake base tuning method, but only to center the spool. And what that did was it freed the spool up from being pushed up against the side of the reel frame, releasing that tension that we had on the first two methods. Now we do all of the tuning on the brake. To start off with, I've got a little bit of wind in my face. I do have an aerodynamic and fairly heavy lure. It's maxed out from how I did it before on the second method. I'm going to go down to 9. So brake control is the same, or I'm sorry, thumb control is the same as the other two methods. However, using this method, because there's no friction caused by the tension knob, and I'm relying completely on the brake here, the spool is going to spin as fast as it can possibly spin once I turn it down to minimum, which would be 1. So I want to be careful about going down on the numbers too quick. Don't do it too soon. You have to do it incrementally. Now, if I do it too much and the spool is going too fast, that is what you would call the makings of a backlash. Coils of line are going to come up, and I've got to be able to feather them out. I'm simply just not touching my thumb on the spool if I'm feathering those coils out, but I'm feeling for them. I'll feel them before I see them, and I'm basically blocking and essentially pushing them down. By the time the end of the cast has completed, usually they have worked themselves out. If they haven't, usually there's only 1 or 2 coils. You can simply pick your rod up and those coils will come out. Then you lock your reel with your handle, or if you have say 4 or 5 coils, you can just turn your body before you lock your spool and make your way back around. So it's pretty simple. Like I said, on 9 right now, let's check it out. So no coils came up. That lure went further than any of the other casts I've made thus far, and it was with the same amount of effort. And my reel is so smooth. It feels so much better. It feels like a different reel. So I'm really benefiting using this method because I can cast further with the same amount of effort, and the reel feels better. It's just a better way to tune. Now, If you're getting started, you want to start with the following lure method. You might want to try the hybrid method as well. But if you get your thumb timing down on the first method, the following lure method, once you've got that dialed, you can step into this. Center your spool with the tension knob, and then figure out where that sweet spot is with your brake. All right, so I'm going to show you briefly how to feather coils off of your spool if they start to show up mid-cast, to show you that even though it looks like you might get a backlash, you can save yourself from the trouble if you know what to do. I'm not going to say this is pro level stuff, it's more advanced for sure, but this is a very good demonstration on how to do it. Coils are likely to come out the further down I dial it. If you start out too low, say if I were to turn it down to 5 out the gate, probably going to have issues with coils. I'm going to just turn it down a little bit and see if I can get my camera to catch the coils and me feathering them down. Did y'all see that? It looked like it was going south there for a minute, didn't it? But I had my thumb, but it wasn't pressing down on the spool. It worked itself out. All right, that's it. All right, so those were the 3 different methods to tune a bait casting reel. It's important to understand that if you use the first 2, the falling lure method and also the hybrid method, that every time you change lures, you're going to need to retune your spool or your reel. In the first one, of course, just the tension knob, and in the hybrid method, both the tension knob and the brake. Important to remember. Now, also, when it comes to coils, you can definitely get good at thumbing out coils. You're just going to have to practice doing it. However, we don't want coils to come up at all. And all we're doing when we're tuning is to try to get our spool spinning as fast as we can so that we can put in minimal effort when casting, and then also get a further cast in the process without those coils coming up. So it's important to remember that we're incrementally adjusting our reels, freeing up the spool so that we can get the most out of our reels without having problems. And one final thought, and this is super important, is that anytime a condition changes while you're out on the water, you need to readdress your reel tuning. And when I say conditions, I mean the amount of effort that you put into the cast, the style of the cast, the weight of the lure, the aerodynamics of the lure, and the wind. So whenever we see these things start to shift on us, we need to be mindful of them, because regardless of the tuning method that you choose, you're going to have issues if you don't retune as conditions change. So, things to take into consideration. I hope this helps, guys. I've got a whole nother video dedicated on backlash prevention. I'm going to put a link in the description up here as well. Check that out, and you'll know about all the factors that contribute to a backlash so that you can lessen the likelihood of them happening out on the water to you. Thanks for watching, and tight lines.